Chicago studio. Time now for our cash tag segment. For that, we want to bring in our next guest, and that is Andy Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio. Today, taking a look at Doordash. Andy, thank you so much for joining us today, because we recently talked Uber, so it's interesting to see the data that you all had. And I'm curious to know, based on how you look across sentiment now, is this a two-man race between Doordash and Uber?
Yeah, it really is. It's quickly becoming a one-man race in a lot of ways. We really see Doordash with the market share leadership that is accelerating. If we look at delivery web visits, Doordash is at 50% of all delivery web visits. That's up from 48% just a quarter ago, which is double Uber Eats. It's 5 times Grubhub. So peers are battling for some growth, but Doordash is really consolidating dominance at this point. When we look at web visits versus stock price, again, consumer strength really leading the way here. Doordash web traffic, which is the blue line, is climbing 17% year over year. The stock is trailing that, and historically that's been a good opportunity. It's telling us that Doordash is doing extremely well with consumers, is growing its share of the pie, is growing its revenue base, and generally speaking, the stock has followed that historically. So where we're at right now is we think Doordash is the clear leader in this last mile logistics. They've mastered it, and they've done a very, very good job of keeping their customer base happy, engaged, and somewhat addicted to their platform. So it's definitely Doordash's race to lose here.
Andy, we've heard from some of the, restaurant stocks, and understand, that's who people use that Doordash for a lot of these stocks, and they've actually been getting hit lately. Does that concern you? Are you guys seeing any data from LikeFolio that basically says, hey, if people are looking for value, and you guys covered McDonald's yesterday, and you guys were spot on with that. When you look at this, if people are looking for value, the first thing you get rid of is paying an extra $10 for delivery to Doordash, right? It's just it's making me scratch my head, because the stock's done so well when people are looking for value and they're still overspending because they're lazy.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it, but I also think that when you look at this, kind of K-shaped economy, which we have talked about on this network many times, the people that are doing well, it's a lot more the Doordash customer than you think. These aren't people that have historically been seeking out great value. They've been seeking out great convenience, and Doordash has delivered convenience time and time again for those peoples. And those people, just like the people who fly first class, just like the people who are willing to, pay for extended leg room or pay up for a nicer car, those people have plenty of money. They're doing well in this economy, and Doordash is servicing them very, very well. So I think that the pros of the upside of the K-shaped economy are far outweighing the downside negatives for the bottom half of the K-shaped economy is in terms of Doordash.
So shares of Doordash, they've been an outperformer so far this year, up more than 40% year to date, year over year. I'm curious to know, do you see any kind of potential speed bumps? Because to your point about the growth compared to Uber Eats does have a bigger footprint globally. Obviously, Doordash has a strong footprint domestically, but that's the next leg of either challenge or potential opportunity. What's your thought about if Doordash can keep up this momentum and have it reflected in the share price?
Yeah, so far, I think Uber has, like you said, they have a massive global footprint. They've got the driver network. They've got everything that they need to succeed, but it just isn't coming to fruition in a meaningful way yet. We continue to see Doordash's lead expand, and Doordash, if I'm going to raise a yellow flag on Doordash, I think the one reason I would is because, there's this possibility of AI or autonomous delivery really transforming this entire industry. And if that happens, it's more likely to occur from the Uber side of the equation, I think, than the DoorDash side of the equation, simply because Uber has so much more invested in it and such a larger, committed driver network that they can rely on in terms of the data that they're getting in. So that's the only yellow flag. I think that Uber has an opportunity probably with autonomous driving that DoorDash might not have. And so we'll see. That's a ways down the road. And for now, the story for us, as it has been for the last couple of years, is DoorDash is winning and they're expanding their lead.
Yeah, Andy, the partnerships that they have, Dollar General, Home Depot, McDonald's, Waymo, Kroger, I mean, they continue to, and I think that's why people are getting excited, because they continue to expand these partnerships, which is great for them. And when you see on the chart, Andy, the stock pulling back 16.5% from those recent highs just a couple weeks ago, does that pique your interest as far as your data goes and give you a decent score on this one?
Yeah, we've got a good score on this one. I like the pullback. I like the data that we're seeing from DoorDash, and I like the vision of the company to go way beyond delivering us, cheap meals. You can now, I used DoorDash the other day to send flowers to someone because I knew that it would get to my daughter's house when she was going to be home. Unlike other flower shop delivery services, I could specify the hour window that it would be delivered, and that's a fantastic service. And so they're going way beyond just meals, and they're a local logistics company that is really, really doing a great job of advancing their technology far beyond its original use case. So we love the story here.
Okay, love the story here. That is definitely conviction right there, backed up by your data. That's Andy Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio. Now, for the trading perspective on all things DoorDash, I'll yield the floor to you.